Bore da, croeso Granada. Morning, welcome to the press conference. Welcome Ian Oliver from the school project. We'll be asking a couple of questions of Chris at the end. Obviously we're here to announce the squad for the Serbia game. We'll do about 20 minutes here with broadcasters, and then we'll move away to do the written tests in the second room, I think. Okay, who wants to go first?
Sorry, if you don't mind. Morning to you, Chris.
Morning.
Aaron Ramsey back in the squad. You'll have been delighted to see him, I'm sure, play last night in Bulgaria. Was it a difficult decision given he's just making his way back from injury?
No, to be honest with you, I think he was once we know that if we're including him, he's not in any danger of re-injuring himself, then of course he's a no-brainer, really, I think. And then watching him last night, he got 15 minutes or so in the game before last night. He played 75 last night, so he looks good. He looks fit, and he's a huge part of what we're trying to do. Obviously with the talent that he possesses, he's a massive part of what we're trying to do. So it was pleasing to see that he got so much game time last night, and he got an assist for the second goal. Fantastic.
Presumably he'll play a part in the North London derby this weekend as well. Would you have a chat with Arsene Wenger before the Serbia game to see whether he'd like him to get limited game time, or is it really not any difference?
No, it'll be the same for every player. The club will, if there's doubt that any player can play more than 45 or 90, then that will come from their medical team to ours. And we will act accordingly like we've always done. We've never taken risks with players, and we wouldn't with Aaron Ramsey. So I hope that's not the case where we're getting a player that is going to be restricted on game time. But then you have to say, all right, is it an hour? Is it 45? Because with somebody as good as Aaron, something's better than nothing. But we'll have to wait and see after this weekend.
Your thoughts on Gareth Bale's new contract in 6 years? You're talking about him playing his career out at Real Madrid there.
That's where he belongs. He belongs at that level, and he belongs at in that spotlight. So I think if when you first moved from Tottenham to Real Madrid for that amount of money, I said then he's going to get better and better, and he has. And two Champions Leagues in 3 years is an unbelievable return. I think you have to look at him as probably the most successful foreign player to come from this way to going that way, to do what he's done. Absolutely amazing. And still there's more to come from him. If you look at his age, you have to look at his attitude also, and he's an absolute, if you could put together a player with all the best attributes, he's got them all. So he's only going to get better. I think it's a great signing for Madrid, and it's obviously great for Gareth because they're a fantastic football club.
So as the downside is that means a few more trips out to Spain for you guys to go?
Yeah, that was a bit disappointing. You're going to have to pop out there once or twice, but that's not such a hardship. But I've not been for a while. I'm due a day or so to just to touch base with the powers that be there in Madrid.
Joe Allen's in the squad as well, and he's been playing much more of an attacking role for Stoke, and I think he had a hand in a couple of the goals on Monday night as well. Is that a role that you always thought was in him, a more sort of advanced role? Yeah,
I think he's the type of player that if you look at the type of player he is when he plays as a holding midfield, he always seems to have more time on the ball than most others. And when you're that type of player, you can play anywhere. And of course at Stoke, he's playing in that more advanced role, where he's been seen as to give the last pass to Wilfred Boney or to whoever's playing up there. In that number 10 slot, he's scoring goals. He's just that type of player. You can play him anywhere in midfield, Joe. Fantastic at receiving the ball in tight little areas, one touch, reversing the play. Super player. So I'm not surprised that I've seen him play there before anyway. I've seen him play for Swansea more when they played one holder with two pushing, and he was one of the two that was pushing forward. So yeah, he's a gifted boy. excellent player, and I'm not surprised he's playing where he is. I'm certainly not surprised he's playing how he is.
And just finally from me, it looks as if FIFA are following the letter of the law when it comes to wearing poppies, be it on the shirt or in an armband. Is that something that disappoints you?
We've always, as a nation, paid our respects, and so we should. In Remembrance Day, and remembering what the men and women did for us, in the war, and so we should. You have to look at what FIFA are saying, and you have to be able to understand that. So, unless my association tells me otherwise, we have to abide by what FIFA says, and that's what we'll do. But we'll always, of course, pay our respects to Remembrance Day.
Chris, this is the first time that you'll have effectively all your frontline players since that quarter-final against Belgium.
Yeah, I think so. And that's the way it is in international football. It's very tough to get your strongest 11, if you like, on the pitch. I said before, if you can do that consecutively, the more you do it, the more success you're going to have. Certainly, when you look at some of the players that we've got, but it's tough when we're not able to do that. Even though we got having Rambo back, and Hal Robson-Carnew's still not featuring every week for West Brom, and it's tough. So having them back is one thing, having them fit, ready to play 90 is another. But that's how it is. We know that's how it is, and it is. I think it's promising to see Rambo obviously getting game time. Hal's had a little bit of game time at West Brom, or a little bit more than what he's had. I spoke to Hal last week. He's in good frame of mind. He's played a bit more football and he's getting fitter. But you want these players. You need them ready to play the 90 minutes, and hopefully now in this camp, in this game, the players who have missed out will be a little bit fitter and stronger.
Because you have missed out, haven't you?
Obviously
you've got some good win to start with. But
Yeah.
You've missed out.
Of course, you can't, and that's no disrespect to the players who have been in instead of Aaron. They've done a great job for us. They do a great job for us. They're a massive part of the team, of the squad. But you're going to miss a player like Aaron. Any team's going to miss a player like Aaron. You can't. He is irreplaceable. Unfortunately for us. But that's how it is. You have to get on with it.
Gareth Bale says that he'd like to end his career at Real Madrid. I bet you were leading the applause, didn't you? Because you like the fact that he's at Madrid. It's helped Wales.
Oh yeah, I think the tempo in La Liga, you can't compare it to the tempo in the Premier League. This is two different types of football. Way more taxing in this country. The tempo of the games in the Premier League is relentless. The games are relentless. The pace of the game is relentless. There's more contact. So yeah, for me, I think being selfish, for us, for Wales, him being there, playing in the Liga, is better for us. Physically, it's better for us. It's a great league, La Liga, and it's technically it's fantastic. It's just that if we're talking about the physical side of things, and of course it's much better for him to be there than to be playing his football here.
You talk about Hal Robson-Carnew not having many games. Wayne Hennessy hasn't played since the Georgia game. It's a problem you come up with occasionally. Is it less of a problem with someone like Wayne?
I think with Wayne and all his experience, and we're going to need to brush the cobwebs off him because he's not had first team football, and that's always a bit of a worry. But for someone like Wayne, with his experience and as good as he is, and as important as he is for us, it is a more special position being a goalkeeper. And what we need to do is make sure we've got that high level of focus on our performance again. We just slightly come off it a little bit in that last camp, unfortunately. So we've got to get back to that. And being a goalkeeper, you're in an isolated position. and it's all about focus and concentration. So that's what we've got to remember with Wayne. That's what we've got to get back to. But Wayne is as important to us as any other player. He's been fantastic. I can only speak for since I've been in the job, and he's been absolutely fantastic.
Serbia top the group. You can't worry about them really, but I mean, you have to. Is this even a must-win at this time of the group, this early? You talked before about the group being first 5 games key to everything. This is the 4th.
Yeah, this is the 4th. They're the in-form team in the group. They've been scoring a lot of goals. I think on the back of their last campaign, which is a disaster for them, when a team as good as what they are. If you look at to see where their players are playing around Europe, all at top clubs. So yeah, they're the informed team. They're the fancy team. They play the same formation as what we played, or what we have been playing for the last few years, and they're using it to great effect. This is a huge test for us. In terms of a must-win, everybody mentions the word win. Of course, it's obvious that's what we want to do. But like I said, we've got to start getting back to, well, not start. We've got to get back to in this next challenge, back to making sure we're focused on ourselves and on our game plan. We've just slightly come off it, I feel, and lost that little edge. So we've got to get back to that. So everybody will be talking about a must-win, a 3 points, this, that, and the other. I'll only be talking about to our players, our performance and what our game plan is and our preparation, and that's what we've got to put everything into. Who knows what's going to happen after this game? It's not important. The only importance is this game, whether that's Serbia, whoever it was. This game is a huge one for us, and we've got to get back to doing what we do best.
Fair to say you owe them one.
I think, well, we do and we don't, because after they beat us at home, since then we've had 15 campaign games and we've lost once, which is not bad. You know, we've been to a major tournament, we've been to a semi-final. When we played them at home and there was 9,000 people there, this time we'll be playing them, it'll be 35,000 or whatever it is. I think we've come a long way since then. I can't tell you what's going to happen on Saturday night when we play them, because nobody can. We can't say what's going to happen. All I can say is, if we do what we're good at and get back to doing what we're good at, and we get the crowd lively again. I just felt in the Georgia game, we went 1-0 up. We took our foot off the pedal, and in return, the people who come to watch you are always going to respond one way or the other to how you're doing. I think it went a bit quiet. First on the pitch in our performance, and then it went quiet off the pitch. We need them right behind us. Whatever's happening, we need that screaming Cardiff crowd in the capital right behind us, and we need to make sure that we excite them. So we've got to get back to doing what we do best, and then it'll be a good game.
Last one from me. Obviously, the Ched Evans verdict has come through. This is the first time we've had a chance to speak to you. What has to happen for you to consider Ched Evans again?
I think if you look now, he was convicted of one thing, and now he's been exonerated. So from that perspective, that's one thing going on. From the football side of it, he's missed a lot of football. I don't know Ched personally, and I've never met the boy. He was playing at a certain level before all this this situation occurred, and now he's playing at a different level. All due respect, he's missed a lot of football, and also since he's been away, a lot's happened to this team. So there's a lot of players in front of him. So I can only look at it as a football. I can't be a hypocrite. We said okay when he was convicted. That's not something we would visit, and now he's not. He's been set free. He's been. So we've got to say okay. That's he's whatever he was seen as. He's not seen as now. He's been freed. But from a football perspective, a lot needs to happen. He's missed a lot of football at the top level, and there's a lot of players in front of him, and a lot's happened. These players have done very, very well. So that's how I look at it.
you rather not pick Chet because of all the paraphernalia that goes with it, Chris?
I think that's that's going to come if Ched gets another chance with Wales. That's going to come, and we can't get around that. But we can't. He's been freed. That's the bottom line. Whatever he was accused of, he's been freed of. The whole incident was unsavoury, of course it was. But he's been freed, so that's how we have to look at it. But I look at it now from a football perspective, and the boys I'm looking at compete at the level we need to compete at to continue where we've been in the last 2-3 years. If anybody's going to come and make an impact on that, they need to be at least playing at the highest level and doing the business at the highest level.
I see you're wearing the poppy with pride. What have the FAW said to you about whether the players can wear it?
No, we need to. We'll be the same as everybody else. It's a blanket, isn't it, from FIFA to say that, it's not allowed, so we can't. We have to abide by that, and we have to respect that. But like I said earlier, we've always, I think, if you looked at what the respect that we've had for Remembrance Day, this goes back for some years. Us visiting Flanders when we were in Belgium, and other things we've done, we respect Remembrance Day 100%.
Just with Serbia, Chris, I know it's all about looking forward in football, but do you sometimes still look back to that night in Novi Sad? Can you believe it's over 4 years by now as well?
I can't believe I'm still sitting here after that night, yes, 4 years ago now, to be honest with you. I think 1 or 2 of you were surprised as well, but I think it's funny how things work, because, we were, they steamrolled us. It was an absolute lesson. And then in the return game in Cardiff again, forget who we didn't have or we had playing. It was the manner of the defeat. And here we are. Now we're in the same group again. Lots happened to us since then, in a positive way. A lot of negatives have happened to them. The last campaign they had was a very, very poor one. I know if you look at the way they play like we've been playing for the last 2 years. So that's a feather in our cap. They've taken our formation and they play exactly the same way. 2 holders, 2 number 10s, 1 striker. Very open, they're very offensive. Technically, they're very good. And if we let them, they'll bully us. If we let them. So a lot's happened since then. But this is a game that, if we're going to do anything, this is a team we need to stand up against, because you can't. Those scars are there, you can't forget it. I'll never forget it. But I should say thank you to them as well, because it made me go off in a completely different direction. Certainly after the home game here, and we've never looked back since. But now is now. That was then. So we can't get too caught up with it. But I think they certainly won't look at us now like they did then. They'd be fools to, and they're not fools. So I think this will be a real good game. This will be one of the best games in the whole campaign. 2 good teams, 2 teams that are going to be competing. You would think for that top spot, and at the minute they're top in the group. So, but like I mentioned earlier, this will be a huge test for them if we find a little edge that we lost, I feel, in the last 2 games. Great point out in Austria, but normally this team, we take the lead in a game twice. We don't give that up. And then again, given the lead up against Georgia, we don't normally do things like that, where we've been fantastic at holding on to things, even though we're not playing so well. And we just came off a little bit, but that's understandable. But again, you have to, like I said earlier, this team, what they've done in the last 2 or 3 years, 1 defeat in 15 games in campaign games is a fantastic record, and they need to remember that themselves, our players. This is going to be a tough game, but they've come a long way, and it'll be a good night for us if you remember how we've come to the position where we are, how we've done it. And we mustn't come off that.
Okay. Oliver? Do you want to ask your question to Chris?
Hello, I'm Oliver Edwards, and I've recently been made a young sports ambassador, and one of my tasks is to motivate and inspire children to play sport. You have been famously responsible for motivating the Welsh squad to reach the semi-finals of the Euro Championships this year. What advice would you give me to help motivate them and inspire others to play sport?
No comment. Okay, good question, Oliver. I would always say, and I can say this from experience, that you don't try to be something that you're not. Follow your heart. Don't be afraid to get it wrong, and don't be afraid of giving absolutely everything you've got, because you're not guaranteed to win. You know, sometimes you can make a fool of yourself, and I've done it many times myself. But as long as you're prepared to give everything you've got and be honest to yourself, don't be worried about being honest to anybody else. Be honest to yourself, and remember, it's not just about talent. Talent's one element, and you need many. So you can't just think I've got a natural talent and I'm good. You need much more than just talent. You need mental strength. You need to have a real good attitude, and you've got to really, really want to achieve something and be prepared to not stop at the first defeat and keep going until you get it right. So, but yeah, just be honest to yourself and don't forget to enjoy the journey. Good question, Oliver. It was the best one I've had this afternoon.